So this is my long overdue video of the Great Wall trip with Dad. There's not any good reason as to why I've taken so long to put this out other than procrastination on my own behalf. I still have a lot of videos from Shenzhen I made afterwards and some Terracotta Warriors ones. But anyway, this is our trip to the Great Wall. And it started, as any great adventure does, with a trip to the Ibis. The Christmassy signs date quite how long I've been procrastinating. So, after having picked that up from his hotel, we went for the true breakfast of champions, which was noodles. The bus itself left at I think 9, so we arrived about half 8 at this noodle place with just enough time to get breakfast and prepare ourselves before the busy day of hiking ahead. We then went to go get the bus to the wall. This itself took about 2 hours. The video I'm showing you now is from about an hour and a half in, where we were in like the vicinity of the wall, but still getting to the specific bit we wanted to walk at. It was cool because you could see the walk snaking along the hills in the distance. We had a tour guide with us who, as I'm about to show you, added the context in and explained what it was, where it was we were about to go. This is his explanation.
Lakeside wall, so today we will hike the wall from the Huanghua and finish in Xishunyue. Mostly is wild and unreserved. Wild, unreserved means the real one, original one, left from the Mingdian. So now on the way to the wall, I would like to tell more detail about the wall. Great Wall. Everybody is one of the, today is one of the top 7 maybe the wonder in the world. But back to long time ago, used to be for military defense works. So it's built by different kingdoms. Used to be built by different kingdoms back to 2,700 years ago. That time, mainly the China, not unified. It was separated with lots of kingdoms, include the kingdom Qi, Chu, Yan, Han, Zhao, Wei, Qin. Lots of kingdoms. So in order to get the more space, so different kingdoms used to be fight each other every year. That's why the king forced the people to build a different section of the wall around their own territories for self-protection. So that is the original of the wall, beginning of the wall, okay? From 770 BC, we start building 770 BC by different kingdoms. 500 years later, one of the kingdom Qin getting power from Xi'an on the northwest of China. On the ruling of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, Qin Shi Huang he unified all of China with the war. Unified all of China in 221 BC. After he did, he forced the people to connect all the world together, which was the first largest construction of Qin Wall. To connect the whole world together in order to protect the whole country. So Qin Shi Huang, Qin, that's for the Qin dynasty. Emperor Qin Shi Huang knows unify the whole country as well as unify the language, currency, so everything. So the people, that's for the Qin dynasty. The people said the name of China, okay, started from Qin. Yeah, started from Qin dynasty.
We then got out of the minibus and saw the wall right in front of us with no path in sight. We then all decided to start walking, or more realistically, start climbing to get up there. We then started walking. So the bit of wall we were on was the wild and unrestored part. What this meant was there was no easily accessible way to get up there. So we had to follow what seemed to be this goat herding path to get all the way to the top. It was suitably isolated, so I was wondering what it would be like up there. But once on the wall, it was magnificent. Words can't quite describe this. It was one of the wonders of the world for a reason, so I hope these videos can convey somewhat.
The wall used to be high, I told you, right? Almost 1% high on the top. Because the nature of the wall on top is falling off, falling down. Only left on the base, which is built with marble, right? So the top wall is made of brick. Most of the brick open.
How many years did it take to build the whole wall?
What the guy was saying, in case you couldn't hear that, is this side where the steps were was in China. The other side was Mongolia.
And finish in the Ming Dynasty. Ming was the last dynasty to rebuild the wall. They took more than 20 dynasty over 2,000 years to build and rebuild. Yeah, and rebuild.
I know which one to do something.
After a big ascent, we ended up here. I decided to go for an explore. You can also hear quite how out of breath I am from the ascent.
Ooh! It's alright up here.
The view once up there was awe-inspiring. I won't try and describe it, but we'll let this do justification enough, as you can see the people walking up it in the distance.
The only other tourists in sight, and the industrial wasteland behind it, and everything else around.
The wall was beautiful, with no tourists in sight. To achieve this, though, there were two caveats. One, for it to be so beautiful, we had to do quite a lot of this, scrambling up mostly deconstructed stairs, with stuff growing everywhere. And two, well, I feel point one quite accurately explains why there were no tourists in sight. I had a great time. I loved it. It was so weird being somewhere so old and yet so abandoned. It was fascinating. The sheer scale of it all was massive, impressive. How the hell they managed this without, like, engineering was beyond me. So what you're seeing here is, one bit of the wall was so steep, from one angle it just looked like a sudden drop. I'm trying to capture it here on the camera, whereby it looks like there's just this massive drop behind the person who's having their photo taken. And yet you can kind of see to their right someone walking down the stairs. Like, what the hell? Like, how did they build this? How did they even get this many stones in the middle of bloody nowhere? And then this steep across mountains. The place was just truly awe-inspiring.
Classic.
This shot is just me panting as everyone else walks upstairs. The wind, incidentally, as cold as it sounds, was a welcome relief.
There's a lot of this involved. It's an empty can of Red Bull. I don't mean the Red Bull, I mean the scrambling.
But it was sure as hell worth it for the moments like this.
Vertical. Okay, it's good. I can see part of me.
This shot was taken in one of the many watchtowers, kind of looking behind it. This is what we'd climbed. We went all up all of that, and then down all of it. Like, it's really weird when you're... It's really impressive to just look back on quite how much you've conquered in a day. Sure as hell feel sorry for the centuries who used to spend their entire lives running up and down here. But I guess there was less bramble back in those days. I really enjoyed the watchtowery things. They felt weirdly homely. Perhaps homely is the wrong word, but you could understand how people lived within them. They were also great as they gave me the opportunity to climb and occasionally contain other tourists, taking a break from the elements, but the view was just fantastic. It was sure as hell tiring, but wow. Words cannot quite express how impressive this place is, as I hope I can somewhat convey. Not via words, but the visuals, hopefully. And as the day drew nigh, I remember the most useful Chinese characters I'd learned were men and woman, and then realised that that hadn't led me somewhere like this, and then to the minibus. It was bloody welcome to just be sitting down after all of that.
£5 actually tells us that's
We
a
all
bargain.
chatted on the way there. Really lovely group of people.
Doesn't
all
matter,
from my
doesn't bother
language
me.
school, incidentally. Fantastic. Really nice. Everyone had talked so much on the way there. On the way back, about 90% of the bus was sleeping. I think I fell asleep on Dad's shoulder. It was an absolutely fantastic trip. I loved it. I loved Dad's entire time staying. It was perhaps my best time in China. That's all I'm saying was, yeah, perhaps the best time in China. Definitely, perhaps one of the best holidays I've had the last few years. I just look forward to Mum and Kay's visit, soon rivaling that. But, I don't know. As we tucked into Beijing Duck on the final day, what a fantastic trip it had been. I just knew that I would sleep well that night. Although, I did hope the morning would never come. Although, as my teacher liked to remind me, as China seemed to remind me, as a lot of things seem to remind me,
Like the fact that he cuts
all good things come to an end. Or perhaps the more poetic Chinese way.
You know what I mean.
No flower is red for 100 days. While only 1 week, it had been a fantastic one. Incredibly memorable, incredibly unforgettable. I'd loved it. In that week, home had never seemed so close, and after, so far away.